everyone, welcome back to my channel Sparkling Beauty Bee. Today's video is a little bit different, and today I'm talking about why I'm not grabbing two of the most hot items in the makeup world today. So I'm going to share with you why I'm not really grabbing these two really attractive makeup products that pretty much all makeup lovers bought it, but I'm just resisting from buying this. These are expensive, and these so many times I have put on my wish list, on my cart, and then I removed it, and then finally I have decided that I'm not going to grab them, and here is why. First product that I'm talking about is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Beautifying Face Palette. You all know how beautiful this face palette looks like. So when you just look at it, the packaging is gorgeous, super attractive, and the way the palette is like placed, two highlighters and two blushes, they look fantastic. So first, the palette, when just it came out, I thought I was 100% getting that, but then after a while I have changed my mind and I felt like I really don't need it, and I will probably not be using it as much as I first thought I would be. So this is a no-no for me, and probably the same for you, and I will explain why you don't need this palette. This palette, there are two palettes. One is for fair to medium skin, and the other one is for medium to deep skin. So let's see the fair to medium. It has really beautiful two blushes, which are, from the review I see, they're buildable, and both of the blushes are like peachy tones. So there are two blushes. One is cool pink matte blush, and then you have a peach pink matte blush. So I don't think cool pink matte blush is for me, because it won't show up on my skin as much as I want to, because it's for fair to medium, and for my skin tone I think peach pink matte blush will show up. But this peachy pink blush, I have so many in my collection, and I feel like whenever I apply any blush, if it's peachy tone, it pretty much looks the same. So there is no point of getting another peachy blush in my collection. Like, I may buy another peachy blush, but this full face palette is not worth it, because for that one blush I just don't need the other products, because the other are warm glow highlighter, and then there is a multi glow rose gold highlighter. So from my previous experiences, I have noticed that any kind of rose gold highlighter doesn't really suit my skin tone. Like, after a few hours, or just after application of the makeup, when time goes by, my face looks a lot more tired and darker, and overall it doesn't look good when I use peachy highlighter. So I usually go for more neutral highlighters, or more gold champagne highlighter, not really the peach one, but the champagne highlighter is something that I prefer, sometimes even more than gold. So these highlighters are not something that I would need. The warm glow highlighter is still good, but I feel like the champagne highlighter that I have from Dior or from Anastasia Beverly Hills, those are already working so well that I don't need any other highlighter in my collection. So overall, this palette, just one blush looks good, but still I have that in my collection, so I'm not going for this palette. And then the other shade is from medium to deep. So if you look really closely, it has a soft peachy rose matte blush, which looks really pretty. I'm not gonna lie, this peachy blush is so attractive, looks so beautiful. But as I said, this peachy blush, again, I have somewhere in my collection, I have so many peachy blushes, and whenever I apply any peachy blush, eventually they give me the same kind of, you know, makeup look. At the end of my makeup, it doesn't matter which blush I have used, as long as that is matte and peachy, it looks pretty much the same. So yeah, I don't really think I need this palette for just one blush. And then they have warm rose matte blush. This kind of dark shades, I think it's too dark. If you have more darker skin tone, it's going to work. But all the two dark blushes that I bought in my life, I ended up never using it, because you have to be really careful while using it. It's actually really too dark, and I feel like I'm not going to use that dark blush. That would be too much. And then the gold highlighter. So the highlighters here, one is very goldy, then they have the multi glow warm pink gold highlighter. So again, I just mentioned that pink or rosy highlighters are not for my skin tone, and I feel like whenever I use a blush topper on the top of my blush, or the blush is a little more sheen, it doesn't suit me. And even though these are the matte blushes, but from the reviews I have seen that they have some sort of sheen on them, and I love completely matte blushes. So I don't think this palette, even though it looks so good on the pan, I'm not going to make much use of it. I already have this blush from Charlotte Tilbury in my collection, and this is their Chic to Chic Walk of No Shame. So this is called Walk of No Shame, and this is how it looks inside the pan. Yeah, and I would like to say that I'm not a very big fan of this formula. So if I swatch it, you can see. So this is how the blush looks like. Walk of No Shame. It's such a beautiful color, and in the middle it's the highlighter. So this is how it looks. So do you see that? That's the highlighter and then the blush. Yeah, so it looks really nice in the swatch, but actually when I apply it on my cheeks, it gives a glow, and I don't really like it. It doesn't have any chunky glitter or anything. It just have a very fine shine, but still I feel like my blushes, whenever they're completely matte, like I have shown you previously, like I love lip and cheek stains, like which are totally matte. I prefer those kind of, you know, blushes, also cream blushes, and sometimes I love the liquid blushes which has no sheen at all. And why I love them, just because I feel like they make me look, they keep my skin looking fresh for longer duration of time. Like even though the time passes by, my skin still looks fresh and nice, and my makeup doesn't oxidize or go darker. But whenever I use blushes that has sheen to it, eventually my makeup looks overall a lot more muddy, darker, and my face looks tired. That is what I feel. So I tend to go for, you know, blushes that are completely matte, and that's the reason, even though this palette looks so beautiful, but I don't think for almost $100 spending on these palettes are just insane if I don't use them so often, and if they don't look good on me. So yeah, if you also like matte blushes and you have so many peachy blushes in your collection, if you don't like rose gold or pinky kind of highlighters, just keep that in your mind before you make purchase of these palettes. Do you really need it or not? Okay, the next really hot item that I'm going to talk about is the Rose Metal Eyeshadow Palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I know when I first saw that they're launching this, eyeshadow palette, I thought I would just grab it the day they launch. I don't have to give it a thought. I was going through their videos. I loved every single bit of color, the color story and everything. I felt like, wow, I have been waiting for this type of palette. I was totally going to grab it, but suddenly I changed my mind, and looking at the palette really closely, I felt like I'm not gonna make good use of it. And actually, a lot of us will not be able to make a good use of it. So if you are still thinking to buy this palette, just give it a thought, like if you're really going to use all these shades. So I am a kind of person more towards matte shades, and also if I use shimmery shades, I prefer shades that are more subtle and not too crunchy or nothing too dark. I don't like my eyes to look very dark for whenever I'm going out. Like if I do a makeup tutorial for everybody on my YouTube channel, that is another story. But whenever I'm going out, even if it's a party, evening out, whatever, I keep my eye makeup minimal. I always prefer using champagne kind of glitters on my eyes or go for the neutrals. So when I see this eyeshadow palette, these are more like fall colors, and these are very dark tones. Mostly these are on the orangey and coppery kind of shades, which I barely use. The only shade I really like here is Haze and then Nova. So these are the two shades I believe I really like here, Haze and Nova. Other than that, I don't think I need any other shades from here. And even Haze and Nova are there somewhere in my collection, because whenever I buy an eyeshadow palette, I tend to go for this type of like golden bronze, but not coppery bronze. I don't like copper colors on my eyelid. I rather prefer something more mocha or something which are more ashy gold. I don't know, a little bit cool tone gold color looks better rather than coppery warm. So this palette overall, I feel like most of the shades I have somewhere in my collection, or I will not use it just because they are either too coppery or too bold or too magenta, which I never really use on my eyelid. And when you actually apply any kind of golden multi-dimensional shades, they look pretty same. So this shadow palette, even if I use it, I will not be able to tell much difference if I'm using my older palettes or a new palette. So yeah, I don't really think I need this in my life. There is no such exclusive shade that is really attracting me here. There are only 4 matte shades, and other all shades are either very sparkling or metallic. I understand it's a holiday collection, so yeah, all the glam things are there, but yeah, it's not really for me. It's very rich and it's very shimmery, very much reflective. If you want reflective palettes, this could be good, but I feel like, yeah, this palette is for very bold kind of makeup looks, which I rarely do. So if you are a freelancer, you do a lot of makeup on other people, you do bridals, this could be really good. But if you're a regular person, wear regular makeup, you do office 9 to 5, and then some evenings you go out for party, you don't really need this palette. I don't think so. Yeah, but overall this palette looks really nice. The packaging is nice, but I feel like these shades actually we all have somewhere in our collection, and we don't really need all of them in one palette. I would rather wait for what ABH comes next. ABH is one of my favorite brand. I have been collecting all their palettes, but then I stopped. I still use some of my old favorites, but yeah, I'm just waiting for something more special, more new, that is more matches to my taste. So I'm not buying any of these palettes. So I would rather save my money and wait for now and see what they bring on 2023. Hopefully something more exclusive, and hopefully something more innovative. Waiting for that. Let me know in the comment section what you think about my thoughts. Do you agree or disagree? Are you going to buy these palettes or no? Tell me everything what you think. I really love your comments, and please subscribe to my channel if you like my video. Give it a thumbs up and keep your notification bell on. Follow my Instagram and blog, and I will see you next time on my next video. Bye.